Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Delhi Township Board of Trustees meeting for November the 9th, 2022. Tonight's meeting will begin first with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the moment of silence. Tonight's moment of silence is dedicated to Jean Heenan. She's been a long-time West Side and Delhi resident. She passed away on November the 5th. She was also a Seton grad. She lived right down here off of Nabe Road. Jean was married to Terry. She had 2 sons and 2 stepsons, and she had a very beloved grandson, Joey. We were very fortunate to know Jean. She's the mother of Scott Heenan, who was also one of our financial advisory board members, as well as our Board of Zoning Appeals. So we mourn with Scott for the death of his mother. My personal memories of Jean are purple azaleas. She had over 100 purple azalea plants all the way up the hill, and they were gorgeous. So beautiful memories of Jean Heenan. May she rest in peace, and thank you for all you've done. She was a dedicated worker in Hamilton County, as well as on the Board of Revisions. Her family will sorely miss Jean. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. And before we get started, I would like to make a note that we have a straggler from our Boy Scout troop who had to miss his meeting to get his community badge, but he's here tonight, Jackson Gus Willer. So, welcome, Jackson. I think you've deserved your badge now, right? Okay, good job. All right, Mr. Luby, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes from the Board of Trustees regular meeting on October 26, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved.
Motion to approve the payment of overtime for pay period ending November 1st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved.
Motion to approve bills for payment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Motion approved. Report from our fiscal officer, Mr. Luby.
Resolution 2022-177, resolution amending appropriations for expenses, declaring an emergency, and dispensing with the second reading.
I'll introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
This is a supplemental appropriation for peer communications for $18,000 for newsletter and extended services for beer.
Okay.
Move to
Thank
dispense
you.
with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
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 Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes. Resolution passes.
Resolution 2022-178, resolution authorizing the Township Interim Administrator to spend greater than $10,000 on behalf of the Township, declaring an emergency, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Is there any discussion on this resolution?
This resolution is to Bethesda Healthcare for physicals that are required by the collective bargaining agreement for the police department.
Okay. Thank you.
Move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading? Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes, resolution passes. Significant transactions, Mr. Luby.
Since last meeting, on October 27th, our payroll was $319,000, and we have a payment to Pavement Technology for $28,000 for annual road rejuvenation. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Luby. Trustee correspondence, Trustee Davis?
Not at this time.
All right, Trustee Sturts?
Not at this time. Thank you.
And I'm silent tonight, so there you go. All right, special presentation. We do have 2 special presentations this evening. The first one is from Hamilton County. I'm going to get this wrong, I know, but I'm going to try. Resource? It's just resource? Okay, this is Brad Johnson. Welcome, Brad.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all. So I am Brad Johnson. I'm the director of the Hamilton County Department of Environmental Services. So the way it's structured, if you're not familiar, I'm sure you are, but we report to the county commissioners. Jeff Aludo is the administrator, so I report to him and then the county commissioners. So yes, I'm here today. I actually manage two agencies. I manage the Southwest Ohio Air Quality Agency and also Hamilton County Resource. So let me talk about why it's called Resource. It did just go through a rebranding about a year ago. So it's actually a state-mandated agency that started in the late 80s. And what the state realized is our landfills were reaching capacity much quicker than what they had realized. And there were a lot of local landfills throughout Ohio. So what they did was they required solid waste districts. And that's what it used to be, formerly was called, the Hamilton County Solid Waste District. And solid waste kind of has a negative connotation to the name. So resource, the three represents the three tenets of what our mission is. The whole purpose, going back to those landfills, is to reduce the amount of waste going into the landfill, so the capacities last much longer. And then it also brought in Ohio EPA and made it much more stringent in terms of how landfills are regulated. So that's the role of resource. So the three represents reduce, reuse, and recycle, which is actually under our logo. So I don't want to go into too much detail. I want to be brief, but I also want to give you the ability to ask questions if you have them. So as I go through the presentation, and Mike's going to be my right-hand man with the slides. So Mike, you can go ahead and go on to the next slide. So we just talked about that. It is a non-regulatory agency, so we're not going out. We can't require anybody to do anything when it comes to recycling and reducing waste, but we're there to provide the resources to allow them to do that. So go on to the next slide. So some of the things you may be familiar with us, formerly the Solid Waste District, is we provide grants. So one of the ways to reduce the amount of waste going to the landfills is we want to encourage businesses to implement things that would not only implement recycling initiatives, but to reduce waste. One of the big things we've been working on in the last couple of years is food waste, working with Kroger and a lot of the big food banks to make sure that we're hitting all the areas where that food doesn't go into the landfill. So it's actually, you can see that it has multiple benefits with that. So we have those grant programs. We have outreach campaigns. That's when you see like local commercials. You may have saw the Recycling Coach a couple of years ago. And we focus in on neighborhoods and communities. So Delhi Township is a community that we focused on in the past and will continue to do that. So you'll see those outreach campaigns. Environmental enforcement, this is newer. We did this about 4 years ago in 2018. Because we are non-regulatory, we realize that there is an issue with open dumping and scrap tires, that people know what they're doing and they still continue to do it. So we wanted to fill that hole, and we created the enforcement program where we have a deputy sheriff that we hire, and that deputy sheriff's whole goal is to go out and to take people to court, fines, and to reduce the amount of open dumping we have in Hamilton County, which includes Delhi Township. So that's been a really successful program. It keeps expanding, and we're kind of the leader in the state with that, so that's been fun. And then the last one you're probably familiar with is our drop-off programs. Those have existed since the late 80s when the district started. And what that is like yard trimmings where you can drop those off for free, and then we pick up the bill for that when it goes to Rumpke for the composting. And then we also have like household hazardous waste drop-offs. We just had an event about 2 weeks ago. So next slide. So this is the plan. Again, I don't want to get into the fine details. It's over 300 pages long. You're welcome to read it. I know solid waste is a fun topic. I love it. But we're at the very end of the process. So that's why I'm here today, because you come into this. So the way it works is we write the plan, and it has to be in compliance with the state EPA rules. So we have to hit all the recycling mandates. There's a lot of different programs that are required, but we also like to tailor it to the needs of Hamilton County. So I'll talk briefly about that. So where we are, we've submitted the plan. We started in 2021. We got it back from Ohio EPA with just a few comments. So the next step is to submit it back to them, and that's when you will come in. So I'm here just to kind of give you a quick demonstration of what the plan is. We've been doing this. We have to update it every 5 years, but it's a 15-year plan. You're looking at the waste for 15 years and making sure we're going to manage that appropriately. So in the first quarter of 2023, I will work with your administration to get them a resolution template, and that's where you would come into play. So next slide. So the way it works is Ohio EPA says you need at least 60% of the population of your communities to approve of that. The one exception is the largest municipality, which in Hamilton County is clearly Cincinnati. They have to approve it. And just to give you an idea, we typically get 100%. We have, Ohio EPA gives us a lot of kudos in our plan. We're looked at as one of the leaders in the state of Ohio. So next slide. So what are some of the changes with the plan that we've done? If you're not familiar with the residential recycling incentive, that's actually, we're the only one in the state of Ohio that has that plan. And what that does is how well the communities recycle, we actually will give you money back. So it's almost like encouraging waste diversion. So the more waste you divert here in Delhi Township, we actually will send money back to the community, and then you can utilize those funds for recycling initiatives, campaigning, all those kinds of things. So what we did with that, that's not going away. There was a lot of talk about whether it would go away or not. We're not taking away. We're actually going to boost it to where if we have more income, the way our fees come in, it's called a tipping fee at Rumpke. So every ton that goes across, $1 comes to us for the funding. So what happens is if we have significant tipping fees, the plan now will get more money back out to the communities. So it's not a flat fee. It's based on how much income comes into the Hamilton County on the tipping fees. So go on to the next one. Another area we realized we've been hitting really hard on the residential sector for the last 20 plus years, and we realized that the businesses, not that we weren't doing things there, but we really need to focus in on businesses a little bit more. So we're increasing the amount of money that we do with that program, and we hired a full-time employee to go out to like Delhi businesses and help them. An example would be if they don't have recycling containers, we'll get them the recycling containers. If they're having trouble where they're going to put their dumpster, say they want to have an outdoor dumpster where they have their recycling, we'll help them with that. If they need some seed money to get programs going, we'll help them with that. So you'll see that program starting up with the new plan. Next slide. And then the last one, this is something we took upon ourselves. The state doesn't require this. I will say this, though, they liked it so much what we did, I think they're going to, in the future, require this. We realized that as good of a job as we're doing, maybe we're missing some of the population, maybe marginalized communities or low-income areas. So we wanted to make sure we hired a consultant to look at our diversity, equity, and inclusion and to let us know where we are. So the good news is they didn't find anything egregious that was a problem, but they found areas where we could improve, making sure our policy committee is well represented with minorities, women, low income. They also wanted us to I mentioned the drop-offs. An example of a low-income area, what if they don't have a vehicle to take those yard trimmings for a drop-off or household hazardous waste? How are we going to fix those issues? So those are things our plan addresses for the first time. Like I said, we're the first one in the state of Ohio to do that. We're super proud of it. So I think that's all I have. This was Michelle's presentation, so I'm just kind of going off of hers. If you go to the next slide. Yes, that's it. So I don't know how I did on time, but wanted to
Okay.
keep it brief.
You
So
were
if you
good,
have
Brad.
any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Brad, we have had recycling bins for how many years? About 15 years. And we have, every so often, we up the number of recycling bins.
Yes.
But over the years, what we got paid back for recycling went down.
Yep.
So what I just read from you is there's an opportunity that maybe we could
Maybe.
recover some of this?
So it's a good question. So I didn't get into the nitty gritty of it, but it's a pool of money that's available to all the communities.
Okay.
So if you have super overachieving communities, they will see a bigger portion of that money coming into their community. So if we have a down year where all the communities are down and Delhi does really well, you're absolutely going to see more money. One area, I'll give you an example, let's say North Bend, some of our really, really small communities, they didn't even do enough to get anything back. So we did create a minimum threshold to where
Okay.
everybody will see some money. So I can't guarantee you that you'll see more money, but if you keep increasing your rates, you likely will. And I did look at your numbers. You are kind of in the middle of the pack, which is good. You're not low achiever, but I will say that it's not because of what you're doing. A lot of it can be some communities really, really look at their yard waste, and we're going to start putting more of those things in there to where you can get those numbers bumped up. But yeah, good question.
We've never had a real yard drop-off.
Right.
We did have when we had what they called the dry hurricane. I really don't know what all
Ike.
that meant. But anyway, we did have a chipper for trees and that type of yard refuge.
Right.
But we've always been interested in figuring out a way to do yard waste. We've had cleanup days.
Yep.
And the last cleanup day was frustrating because we couldn't get the trucks in here to pick up the.
Oh, okay.
But I
Well,
think
we will certainly help you with cleanup days however we can, yard waste, any of those things moving
Okay.
forward. I will say we used to have a drop-off at, I'm trying to think of the name of it, Kaluga.
Beluga.
But it did have to move because they updated the park there with the pickle ball in the back. So that moved to, I'm trying to remember the name of the elementary school. It's here on the west side. I just can't remember the name of it. Yes, thank you.
John Foster
Oakdale, I heard it.
Dulles?
Thank you.
Which one?
Oakdale. See,
Oakdale.
I knew the Public Works guys
Oakdale?
would know.
Yeah.
So if you know of a location or your administration has a better location, we're always open to that because we did struggle. We had to change that location, I think, 2 years ago, and that was a little bit of a struggle.
Brad, I'd like you to make sure that Randy Suppi, who is our Parks Director, and Dan Ryan, back running the microphone, gets your contact information so that we can follow up and make sure that we're getting what we need to do on our recycling.
One last thing I do want to say too, Michelle, because I've been in this role for 4 years, I don't work directly with the communities a lot. I'm dealing with downtown a lot, but we have a really good working relationship with Delhi, and I did want to make sure you were aware.
Thank
In fact, this is my first time meeting Jeff and some of the others, but I've worked with the Public Works crews in my
Okay.
previous work with the county, but fantastic people here at Delhi Township.
Thank you. Thank you. We think so. Thank you for the compliment. But we will be talking to you about how to up our recycling.
We would love to assist however we can. That's our job.
Thank you,
We will
Brad.
be there. You're welcome. And I apologize. I do have to head out. I have some kids' activities I have to get to.
You're very good.
All right.
Thank you. All right, well, I just handed out homework for Dan Ryan and Randy Suppi, but that's okay. That's okay. We do have a second special presentation tonight because we have just been flooded with questions about aggregation and who's who and what's what and what's good and what's not. So we have with us tonight Dan Dieters, who is going to help. And frankly, we chose Dan's organization because of customer service. So thank you for being here. We're back in the question mode again. And if you could just give us the elementary explanation of what is going on.
I will give you the quick version.
Thank you.
Mr. Pacheco probably could do it. He's sat through this about 3 or 4 different times in other areas. So if after I'm gone, I'm sure you have any questions, he'll be able to answer them. So
Is he going to try to stump you? Is this the...
he can.
No?
He can. So long story short, Duke, the Delhi aggregation program, Electric, is termed this December. So everybody has a different read date. So if your read date is on December 8th, you're going to get a letter from Duke saying that you're going back to the utility. And the question is always, why are we sending folks back to the utility like we did with gas? Well, it's pretty simple. We're doing it to protect the residents from a high price. To make a very, very long story short, Duke is required to auction off portions of their power. They're called capacity auctions. They have only completed 20% of those. So what's happening is when we go out to market to the suppliers and say, okay, give us a price, they're building in all this risk. And there's good and bad. The bad is that we're sending everybody back. The good is we know the price up until May is going to be about 6.5 cents. It's 5.28 right now. So we know that that's the case, and we also know that anything that we would put Delhi residents in is going to be above that 6.5. So when
If we were doing that right now.
if we did it right now,
But we're waiting.
so we're waiting. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait till the auctions clear, and then everyone's going to go back to the utility, and they don't have to do anything. All they have to do is kind of just pay attention for the next letter for the next opt-out. So in February or March, we should have another deal in place, ready to go to help people out over the summer.
some good things that are happening, much like we did. It's almost the exact same thing we did with the gas. It's just kind of like in the summertime when nobody's using any gas. That's when we took the hiatus from the gas program. Winter is the lowest price for Duke for the end user. So folks are going to go back, they're going to see a little bit of an increase, and then we're going to come back once the auctions are done, and then we're going to come back with a new price, a new program, a new term.
Dan, one thing that always gets everyone confused is they get a letter from a utility-based company that they've never heard of, that they don't understand. They're fearful that they've been slammed out of their aggregation program. So what can we do to help educate our residents about who these letters are from, which ones are from the aggregation? Because that seems to be a place where a lot of people get a concern.
Sure, the confusion ends when you make sure you watch for the Delhi logo on the letters.
On the letter.
The aggregation program will be the only program that has Delhi's logo along with the company's logo with it. So everything else, you'll get letters saying they're from Duke, they're not. You'll get letters saying they want to talk about your Duke bill. People knock on the door saying they want to talk about your Duke bill. All those people are not people you want to be involved with. And I would tell you this.
Is that what we used to call slamming people?
It is. And what ends up happening is folks share their bill with these folks, and they'll just get put on the program without giving their permission. So the first thing you do is never share your bill with anyone. I don't need your bill. If you call me, all of our numbers are on the township's website, I'm certain. If you call me, I don't need your bill. Duke certainly doesn't need your bill. They're the ones that gave the account number. So the only thing you need to be wary of is that just don't give your bill out to anybody. Don't buy something from a door-to-door person, because even if that might seem like a good idea now, it might be a horrible idea 3 months from now, because you don't know if it's variable. You don't know if the term's only 6 months and then they're just going to jack up the price at the end of the 6 months. It's better off just to basically don't do anything, because the folks running around the streets and it's at Walmart selling you stuff and at Sam's saying they can help you, they're not buying for the 5,000 houses for Delhi.
Right, because
we
we're
are
buying in mass.
Correct. We're buying in mass. And not only that, a lot of times it'll be Delhi, Green, Coleraine, that just happen to be at the same time. So we're using, I hate to say that, you're actually using Energy Alliance's buying power for all those homes to get the best price for the residents of Delhi. And the reason that we are putting this on a temporary hold is because we're not going to put the residents in a 1 or 2 year deal that may be way over the market value of Duke in May. We would never do that. So, I mean, Delhi has kind of a history. When we first started the program, I came to you and I said, we can't start now.
Yep.
We don't have auctions done. We don't have a lot of information that we need done from the utility before we know we can get Delhi a good price. So we held at the very beginning of the programs, before we started any of them, we held them 6 or 7 months, if you remember. Right. So the number one goal is to protect the residents. The number one goal is to make sure they get a good price. That's 1 and 1A. And then make sure that if there's any issue, go to the Delhi website, grab my phone number, and call me. I'm generally the one that answers the phone.
Okay.
So, we have a group of guys and ladies just like me that are the people answering the phone. And it's not some electronic phone tree somewhere in the middle of North Carolina like Duke has. We pick up the phone, it'll be a live human, and if you ask for Dan Dieters, they'll find me wherever I am and shoot the call to my cell phone.
You brought up a good point about people knocking on your door. Chief, do we still have the stickers that can prevent people? We still have a program where our residents can come and pick up. Actually, what does the verbiage say on there? No solicitation. It's a no solicitation sticker. and they register that with our police department. But, you know, if this is going to start up again, people, it might be a good idea to put this sticker in a window or on your door where it can be seen, because they have to register if they're going to be door to door in Delhi anyway.
And you're going to be getting mail when this happens. You're going to be getting mail, and it's going to be confusing. Just toss it. There's nothing you're going to get that is going to be of any value to you unless you see the Delhi logo on it.
Okay. So everyone, if it's still as clear as mud, we're all going to call Dan Dieters.
You can do that.
All right? Any questions?
Nope.
Questions?
Excuse me.
No, I got to experience somebody with Dynergy, was it? Dynergy, I think
Yeah.
it was. And the bill was up to $430 for the month. It was like, what? And I spoke with a gentleman, and he says, oh, yeah. And I said, are you working with the township? And he goes, oh, yeah, we work with township, and we're doing this and that. And he just went on and on and on. And I said, well, let me introduce myself. And
Surprise.
yeah, it went backwards real quick. But that's exactly, you're right. If you see it, unless our logo's on it and you're, pitch it.
Yeah,
Why confuse?
exactly. Well, I will tell you this, and Dynegy does do some programs for us. But the problem is, and I'll wrap this up really quick. At the end of a term, if you go out on a third-party contract, at the end of the term, they're required to give you another offer. That's kind of like, they before they gave you an offer, you took advantage of some offer. They went and bought energy at X price. And then they're pricing you individually in your home at the end of your term. So that number is going to be exponentially higher. I just got one today because I have Dynegy on a program, and my end of term price is 14 cents. That's double what Duke will be charging the next 4 or 5 months. So,
And if you conserve and pull back, they elevate it. They charge you more.
Yeah.
The more you pull back to keep your bill down. It's quite a market there.
you're just best off staying either with the utility or with the aggregation.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, everyone, it might still be clear as mud, but we know who to call and what to do, and just understand our whole goal in this is to protect you and to make sure that the correct price, the best price, is getting to the residents of Delhi. Thanks, Buzz. Okay, we'll continue on with the regular agenda then. Mr. Luby, I have nothing on fire.
That's good.
Nothing, Chief? Nothing's on fire?
Good.
We like nothing on fire. Parks and Recreation, we do have something there. Mr. Luby.
Motion to accept the voluntary resignation of seasonal Parks and Recreation worker Elizabeth Rodersheimer, effective November 1st, 2022.
So moved?
Second.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. And that's the voluntary, it's winter, you'll come back in the spring?
Yes, hopefully.
Okay, great. That would be great. And any other updates, Randy?
No other updates right now. We're just getting ready to shut down things for winter, blow out water lines. So it seems like we may miss the date for pickleball to start. I mean, I think it's going to be in the 40s, and I don't know if it's going to come back up. So we'll get everything out early next year and get it going then.
Okay. Do you want to explain to people about the bathrooms closing for people who, because every year we get questions about people who use the parks to walk, to get their steps in, and bathrooms being closed. Well, when it's, below zero, when it's below freezing, we do winterize our bathrooms. But Mr. Soupy, I think you've got a plan.
Yeah, so at the end of last year, we did the new playground area, and we redid the restrooms and put a furnace in. So at that point, we're able to keep the middle restroom open. We will restrict the time frame while our workers are there during the day, though. So we'll put up signs. It'll be around 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m.
Okay.
And we also will work on, myself and Dan Ryan are working on Storywoods Park to possibly stay open. We'll see how that works also.
Okay. So that's the restroom that's by the new
The new playground, the middle
playground.
restroom, yes.
Will be open during some of the winter at least?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
all
we
right.
do have a portalette. I mean, it's not as nice as anything, but it is there in the
So
basement.
walkers, we did hear you. We're just trying to balance between snow and ice and freezing the pipes and having something there for, your use.
Yes,
right?
unless everything's heated, everything gets blown out. So,
Okay.
yes,
Thanks, Randy.
no problem.
All right. Police Department, I have nothing on your agenda. Everybody's good. We like that. Public Works, you're on.
We have a motion to authorize the advertisement of a legal notice to bidders for the Mount Vernon Road Sidewalk Improvement Construction Project in conjunction with the Southwest Ohio Regional Transit Authority grant.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Yes. Motion approved.
Motion to authorize the advertisement of a legal notice to bidders for the Greenwell Avenue Sidewalk Improvement Construction Project in conjunction with the Southwest Ohio Regional Transit Authority grant.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Yes. Motion approved.
Motion to authorize the advertisement of a legal notice to bidders for the Neeb Road Sidewalk Improvement Construction Project in conjunction with the Southwest Ohio Regional Transit Authority grant.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
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 Motion approved. So we're going to be in the sidewalk business.
Yes, we're definitely excited to get this project started. This will kind of guarantee construction for next year and a requirement from the grant. We've been working on it quite a bit with the engineering firm. As you can see on some of the pictures, you got to kind of picture where the sidewalk would be there. I think Greenwell is probably our most requested of you guys.
Yes, for a long time.
As long as I've been
So this
here.
is wonderful.
Yeah, and we are actually getting some phone calls of, when it's going to happen and what have you, especially for Greenwell. But, yeah, it's exciting.
Super.
What side is it going to be on Greenwell?
Every street, it'll be on the east side of the road.
East side.
And letters were sent out to the residents months ago.
All right. Any questions?
Any questions?
All right. Thanks, Ron.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Administration, this is always good. We get an update on Delhi Town Square, Mr. Lemon.
All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Seatbelts are on.
All right, well, I do have a few photographs to show you. I hope you enjoy seeing these because it does show a marked progress in terms of the project. So, once again, here's an aerial. You can see the shape of the town square coming into being. Another one. Then you get into starting the trench work and foundations. You can see construction crews starting to arrive. Here you can see the base course of asphalt going down. Another photograph, so there's a lot of asphalt going down this week. It'll continue all week. Again, the asphalt and some of the construction crews coming in for the apartments. And this is the slab on grade for our building, new building. Again, more curb work and asphalt. So here you can see basically the parking lot that's being developed for the apartments and drive. So there's a lot going on at the site. And now that we're getting the asphalt down, I cordially invite the elected officials of this community to come visit and take a tour of the site and get as excited about it as I am. So,
Oh, yeah.
I hope maybe next week all of you can join a tour. I would also just comment that at the site, there are some things that are happening. PLK has started on their foundations, and the fourth pad of 5 is being prepped for acceptance. So we're almost 80% of the way there in terms of pads for the buildings. The residential primary electric underground roughman has started, so we're moving right ahead with all the utilities. Most of the work needed in the drive lane near Duncan, outside the construction fence, is complete, so we won't have any more disruption there. The site's fine grading is complete, and that allowed us, of course, to start putting the asphalt down, the base course. The prep for the township building slab on grade has started, as you saw in the picture. And there is a meeting with MSD scheduled for November 15th, which is a key date for us. And meeting with them, the intent will be to formalize MSD's approval for the holding tank plan. And from there, we'll be able to provide a schedule depicting the permit, the final design, and installation timelines, which are critically important to us. So that meeting is going to be extremely important to us. And we have a full crew from the site going down to help influence MSD if we can.
Good.
Because as much as we need the approval, we need, to move the permitting process along as well as quickly as we can. Because we do have commitments and timeframes that we have to fulfill. And so the sooner we can get that permit in, or approved, I should say, the better off we're all going to be. So, that's it for Delhi Town Square. Again, I hope you all can come over next week and take the walking tour. Hard hats, of course.
Hard hats, yes.
And the other thing is, I am starting to meet with the department heads on their budgets. And the police department was kind enough to spend almost 2 hours with me going through it. And there were a number of questions, both ways.
Uh-huh.
And we'll continue that process until all departments are finished.
Okay.
And then we'll get our binders together to present to the FAB and to you as well. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't know if we'll be on the exact schedule we had laid out, but we will have it done by the end of the year.
Perfect.
Budget finished and approved.
That's great. One question on Delhi Town Square.
Yes.
We used to have a very nice board of photographs that somehow has managed to work its way more back into the construction area, and people have asked to see the pictures, and they're not allowed back there. I mean, so is there any way we can move that picture board forward? You know where I mean, Mike?
No.
On the other side, can we move it on the other side of the fence?
It's on the other side of the fence. There's a beautiful picture board that kind of gives people, as they drive by, an idea of what's coming to the space.
The main one that was placed, yeah, the large one that.
Yeah.
For a while, there's a big pile of gravel in front of it.
Yeah, that's right.
So you couldn't see it.
Yeah, it defeated the purpose, yeah.
Progress or
No, it's just kind of an introduction of up and coming, yeah.
You've seen like your tax dollars at work, boom, and they have these big signs. Well, this one was supposed to be that, to show you what's going on here at the Delhi Town Square for all the residents that are passing by it daily. But the sign was put back among the rubble, so nobody really even saw it. But I don't know if that was a zoning thing, that you couldn't put it up close to the pike, or, nope. And so let's get that and move that up.
No.
Get-
it was up, but it's been taken or.
It's been pushed back. Pushed back, is that a good
Yeah, it keeps going back further
Keeps
onto our
going
property.
further back and further
Closer
back
to the
into the
fence, and now it's
construction.
further back into the project.
Yeah, we'd like to bring it up closer to the pike so people going down the
Can
pike
see
can
it.
see it. You're right. Tony, we're good on that, or?
All's down the right of way.
You're right. There you go.
But then that's not our property.
That's correct.
That's why it's back by the fence, because the rest is not our property.
Well, could we ask permission to, I mean, I can't imagine them not willing to work with us as we're all together.
We will find a way.
Okay.
Because it's a good picture board, really. I mean, so it would be nice if people could see it. All right. Anything else, Mr. Lemon? All right. Well, then we'll move with the agenda to community development. Mr. Roach, are you here? All right. Mr. Luby, resolution?
Resolution 2022-179, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 474 Burhan Drive, declaring an emergency and dispensing with a second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution? Mr. Roach?
Yep, good evening, trustees. Yep, so we started out with 4, we knocked one off to this morning, so This one here is for excessive vegetation, not necessarily for the front yard. It looks like it's been mowed. It's for the stuff around the house and on planting beds. So that's what you're seeing there. And then the next two are going to be for debris. Should probably be pretty self-explanatory. And yes, we will find a spot for that sign closer to the pike that
Thank you.
will work. And I'll work with Mr. Lemon and whoever who helps needs to move it, Public Works or whoever.
It's a great picture, boy. We might as well share it.
Exactly.
All
Move to
right.
dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes. Resolution passes.
Resolution 2022-180, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 598 Claymore Terrace, declaring an emergency and dispense with second reading.
My.
Nice.
Is that,
There's a skeleton laying on there, isn't it?
That's what you think it is, yep. Right there in the front yard, yep.
Have you talked to the property owner and said, are you being serious? Or,
We've had no communication, face-to-face letters, knocking on door cards, nothing, Trustee Davis.
Is that a skeleton that's dressed laying on the couch?
huh?
I think that's a skeleton. Was that supposed to be a Halloween costume? Yeah, there's somebody laying on it or whatever. It be what it be.
I will introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I definitely second the adoption of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
What?
Nope.
I didn't get there yet. I'm not finished on this one. Hang on.
You still want to look at this?
Yeah, I mean, and this isn't one, you know, and we're not laughing or joking. It's just you don't see it. I've never seen it in 15 years here, but it's not like someone is like, you know, going under some type of physical disability or anything like that where they just can't move it. Somebody moved it there, they need to move it out or get it out of there. I mean, it's obviously not being put out for the garbage, right?
And it's not outdoor furniture.
Right. Okay. Well, move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All right, let's try this again. All those in favor of the motion to dispense with second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes, resolution passes.
Resolution 2022-181, resolution declaring nuisance for accumulated debris at 354 Greenwell Avenue, declaring an emergency and dispensing with second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of this resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Roach?
All I have to say is at least it's closer to the garbage cans.
Is what?
It's closer to the trash cans.
Is it? I'm just looking. I mean, what is the main problem?
Well, it's a day bed and toys.
Oh, okay, that's a day bed. Okay, okay. I couldn't see that. I don't have my regular glasses. Okay. Well,
Okay.
move to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
I second the motion to dispense with the second reading of this resolution.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading? Yes. Mr. Luby, please call the roll.
Mr. Davis?
Yeah.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes, resolution passes. Thank you, Mr. Roach. Public comment then, I have no one signed in. So announcement of community events, Mr. Luby.
The Delhi Historical Society presents John A. Roebling and his suspension bridge on the Ohio River, Monday, November 14th from 7 to 8 p.m. That will be at the Delhi Park Lodge. You can visit the Society's website for more information. Delhi Parks presents Delhi Sip and Shop Vendor Fair, Friday, November 18th at 6:30 p.m. It will be at the Delhi Senior Center, and you can contact the Parks Department with any questions. The Delhi Branch Library event, Living History with Mrs. Washington, is Wednesday, November 30th from 6 to 7 p.m., and that's at the Delhi Branch Library. You can contact the Delhi Branch Library with any questions. The Christmas Parade, hosted by the Delhi Business Association, is Saturday, December 3rd. It starts at 9:30 a.m. on Delhi Pike. Line up with your neighbors on Delhi Pike to celebrate the Christmas season. Save the Date, Letters to Soldiers event, hosted by Edward Jones, will be Saturday, December 3rd. The event will kick off at Delhi Park Lodge at the conclusion of the Christmas Parade. Look for more details to follow. Delhi Branch Library event, DIY Holiday Gift Wrap Making, is Monday, December the 5th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And that will be at the Delhi Branch Library. Registration is required. Contact the Delhi Library with any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Luby. We do have need for executive session this evening, so if we could have the motion, please.
Madam Chair, before that, can we just point out, I see Commander Don Osterfeld back there for a great celebration that they had on Sunday
yes.
for our Delhi Township Veterans Association. Commander,
Commander, past commander.
we'll come back to it. Anyway, great job, fantastic. It's such a beautiful day. This year, we had something unique happen that we all got to see, which was a flyover. That was pretty cool.
We shared with the Bengals.
Yeah, that was shared with the Bengals. Yeah, we hate it when they kind of ride on our coattails, but anyway, so that was kind of neat. And don't forget Veterans Day. This coming Friday, we celebrate our veterans.
And I believe the Delhi offices are closed Friday? Correct. All right, so the Delhi offices will be closed on this Friday for Veterans Day. All right, then. You need for executive session. Let's try it again, Mr. Luby.
Motion to retire to executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, and/or compensation of public employees of the township, and to consider the confidential information related to the marketing plans, specific business strategy, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Yes. Motion approved.
Roll.
Roll.
Roll call?
Davis?
Yeah.
Mrs. Sturts?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes. Now the motion's approved. Okay, our next meeting is Wednesday, November the 30th. So everyone, please have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hopefully we don't see snow before then, but there's a chance. But don't worry, because Mr. Rippinger has the Salt Dome full. We're ready. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we'll see you on November the 30th.